Hey everybody, and welcome back to Hard Ticket. I am Jeffrey Boggess.
And I am Tristan Moore.
And we've got two movies to talk about today, so without further ado, Tristan, why don't you introduce us to option number A?
Yeah, option number A this is Spinal Tap, the 1984 comedy musical, but really it's a mockumentary or a
musical.
A rockumentary.
Right, yeah, rockumentary.
Directed by Rob Reiner. It stars Michael McKean, who you may know as Chuck McGill from Better Call Saul, and Christopher Guest, who you may know as the Six-Fingered Man from Princess Bride. He's in Best in Show. He's married to Jamie Lee Curtis, I just found out. So it follows a band called Spinal Tap, a fictional rock band, British rock band, as they tour through America and tear through America, truly. A reign of terror. They basically, one thing goes wrong, one thing after another, and they just peter out until at the very end they somehow put together an amazing show, and it's very heartwarming.
Yeah, they're sort of past their prime by the time the movie starts. And this is one of the earlier mockumentaries. It actually popularized the term mockumentary. It kind of became mainstream when Rob Reiner was talking about it in interviews.
Right.
And Rob Reiner plays the fictional director of the documentary in the mockumentary.
Yeah.
And
do they ever name what the documentary they're shooting is supposed to be like in the movie, or is it?
I think it's just, this is Spinal Tap.
Yeah, perfect.
Just why make it complicated?
Yeah.
Anyway, today we are talking about Spinal Tap in conversation with option number B, which might take a little bit more explaining. Spinal Tap is one of the more definitive mockumentaries, and we're putting it up against The Rutles, All You Need Is Cash, which is a 1978 mockumentary, co-directed actually by Eric Idle of Monty Python fame, co-directed with Gary Weiss, but Eric wrote it and stars in it as Dirk McQuickley, one of four members of the titular Rutles. So, who are the Rutles, you might be asking? The Rutles are a parody band of the Beatles that were made popular in a sketch comedy show that Eric Idle did after Monty Python's Flying Circus ended. That show is called Rutland Weekend Television, which is Britain's smallest television network, based in Britain's smallest county, Rutland.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, no, it's apparently mostly a rural county.
Yeah.
And the whole point behind like the sketch comedy show is that like there wouldn't be a lot of like, I mean, they're like public access television would be shit, basically.
Right.
The show ran for like a year and a half, from 75 to 76. It's like, it's got some duds. It's a lot of duds, but there are some nuggets of gold in there. And one of them, the most famous thing that came out of the show, was the band The Rutles, which made songs that sound suspiciously familiar. And so when the show ended, Idle was like, all right, we're going to do this. We're actually we're going to make this movie, because people were kind of pushing for it. And so he made the movie with Neil Innes, who also plays Ron Nasty, another member of the Rutles.
The John Lennon of the group.
Yeah, and Idle and Innes were co-collaborators on a Rutland TV show, so they made the mockumentary together. Innes did most of the music, and then Idle did a lot of the comedy. So together they made this parody movie, The Rutles, All You Need Is Cash, which came out 6 years before Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
And is one of the earlier mockumentaries, I think, as previously established, which is a lot of fun. Because these were before mockumentaries were so, like, they blew up in the 2000s, you know, with The Office.
Yeah, I was thinking of The Office. I was like, now it's like everybody watches some form of mockumentary.
Yeah.
Like if you watch, and in The Office, there is no like attempt, I feel like, after a while to kind of actually simulate a documentary format. It's just like there's cameras everywhere in this office. Like it doesn't make sense how much coverage they actually have. But
the American Office brings it around again, like in like the last season or two. Like the crew actually starts to interact with the characters. But a lot of other mockumentaries, like Parks and Rec, just totally dropped it by the end of it. Like, there's no feasible way. Like, the last episode of that show was like years into the future. No documentary ever comes out about the Pawnee Parks and Recreation Department. And so it's interesting to go back and see when this documentary, like this genre was a lot more fresh.
Yeah.
And people were actually playing a lot more with the form of film.
It wasn't just like a style, just like something that you can prepackage and sell. Like Abbott Elementary is like that, where it's like you're trying to sell like the illusion of truth and honesty and rawness and like sort of improvisation and stuff, but you don't actually want to hew to being a documentary. Yeah,
Abbott's a weird case. I cannot get past it because it's like they have all of those little like beats down to a science now. It's so engineered.
Yeah, look at the camera and make the Jim face, you know?
Right, the Jim face. The Jim face. Yeah, and now like even this year there's been a spin-off to The Office called The Paper that's coming out. And like
starring General Hux.
Despite the fact that it's past its prime, like I think most people can agree on that, we're still getting people who are trying to do more with it. And, you know, it might have been revitalized a little bit when What We Do in the Shadows came out.
Right.
Taika Waititi's movie was huge, and it was so huge that it spawned a TV show that a lot of people like even more than the movie. I never watched more than a couple episodes of the show, but the movie's great.
Yeah, the movie's very funny.
And, you know, you get into that, like, I want to talk a little bit about mockumentaries because, like, there's a very, very specific difference between British humor and American humor.
Yes.
There's movies that encourage improvisation in America and maybe started to around the 21st century that started to become more popular. You had multi-camera setups on these comedians who you're just like, be funny on camera. So like Will Ferrell starts just ad-libbing all of his lines, and something like Anchorman, Adam Sandler does the same thing. And it's like, there's not even a script. And that's like, some of those can be the worst of the worst. Not to say that like ad-libbing isn't welcome. It can be really, really funny. And we see that in Spinal Tap specifically.
Yeah.
Which is an American movie through and through. But then there's the British humor, the super witty British, like dry humor, that you definitely get it in like the UK version of The Office.
Yes.
With Stephen Merchant and the other guy.
Ricky Gervais, which also didn't run for like 8 or 9 seasons.
Right, they ended it when they ended it. Like, there's also this idea in Britain that's like, you know, we're not going to let it just become a zombie.
Yeah, exactly. You can't Flanderize it. You can't milk it for all it's worth. And I think that kind of ties into like the verisimilitude of a fake documentary.
Yeah,
like it needs to like. There's no documentary crew, like you were saying, that's going to go on for like 9 years.
Yes.
Filming just like an office crew. And then
what's the payoff for that?
Exactly.
Like, it's just, and then you get Taika Waititi, who is almost like the nexus. He's got this really funny, really scripted, witty humor, but he also encourages a lot of improvisation on his sets. And so you get something like Thor Ragnarok, which I think is a blast. You get something like Hunt for the Wilder People, which relies a little bit too much on some pop culture humor, but is still like a heartfelt, pretty witty narrative. But I'm getting way ahead of myself here. We're getting way off track. The whole thing is like, you start to see it get really popular around the time of Spinal Tap. That's when it kind of enters the mainstream. Spinal Tap, I think, comes up in a lot of conversations about like classic comedies.
Yeah.
Some of the best, definitely when you talk about mockumentaries, like you have to talk about it. Like it just needs to be mentioned. The Rutles, not so much.
Yeah. I'd never even heard of the Rutles until like a week or two ago when you brought it up. How did you first hear about the Rutles?
I heard about the Rutles kind of the same way I got introduced to Spinal Tap, through my father, who I inevitably was going to have to mention in this episode.
Yeah.
Spinal Tap's probably one of his favorite movies. And it wasn't until recently, like this past year when I was visiting home, that he mentioned the Rutles and showed me like a couple of clips from it. Or really, he just showed me like the first 5 minutes. And there's that great gag where like Eric Idle's walking and talking with the camera, and the camera keeps speeding up. And he starts like sprinting, and then by the end of it, he's like a dot in the distance.
Yes.
And the camera's just way gone. And
it's like on a car or something. Yeah, that's not even like a rock music or like a popular music like joke. That's just a joke about the form, which I really appreciate.
Which is awesome. Like you don't have to know. I mean, the rest of if you have Beatles knowledge, like this mockumentary is you are gonna like shit your pants. Like it is so specific, and it came out in 1978.
Yeah.
I mean, like John Lennon's still alive. Like everything is fresh. The Beatles had not been broken up for that long, and their solo careers definitely hadn't taken off at this point. So like, it was all happening as they were riffing on it, which is like,
right.
Imagine being there and watching it, But
no one did.
Yeah.
No one watched this thing. It's pretty obscure. You go on Letterboxd and it's like, what, a couple thousand people have maybe seen it.
Yeah.
I read like an anecdote about somebody who's like, I saw it in my TV guide that it was going to be playing like on this day, because it's a made for TV movie. And he's like, I'm one of like the 5 people who saw it when it actually, premiered. This thing has flown completely under the radar unjustifiably, because it is really on point. It's really good.
It's hilarious. My dad, he'll talk about like the specific songs that they do. Piggy in the middle, the cat in the fiddle.
Yeah, just saying the titles, I'm just like,
right. Yeah. And Cheese and Onions too. That's one that always gets him. And it got you because we watched these movies together.
I was cackling during Cheese and Onions when they actually start spelling it. Do I have to spell it out? And then you start spelling it out, and it's like, it's so stupid.
Yeah. And it was like, in the fictional movie Yellow Submarine Sandwich that the Rutles does. It's just like they're like references on top of references.
Yeah.
The legacy of the Rutles is really interesting too, because like part of the reason why we're doing this episode now is because it's actually going to release the same day as Spinal Tap 2.
Whoa!
Which is fantastic. So if you're listening, Spinal Tap 2 is out today. Go to the theater, give it a watch. If you haven't seen the first one, watch that one first. And then tomorrow, go to the theater and watch it. So the legacy of Spinal Tap is very much like still prevalent today. It was a profitable movie. It had like a $2.5 million budget. It made like $5.8 million. So I mean, it didn't
gangbusters.
Yeah, need to be more movies like that, like cheap but also mildly profitable.
Mildly profitable. We should start accepting that benchmark in society.
But the Rutles, oh my God, it's fascinating. I took a deep dive in the past 48 hours on these movies because Innes and Idol had a falling out in real life, which is not like talked about a lot, probably because their work isn't like, I mean, most people know the name Monty Python.
Yeah.
A lot of people, when they hear about the Rutles, mistake it for a Monty Python production.
Yeah.
Michael Palin shows up in it, but it's very much like Eric Idle doing the heavy lifting.
Right.
Eric Idle, like a lot of members of Monty Python, kind of a douche in real life.
That sucks, because I really like him. He's really funny.
I know. And watching this movie too, having seen a good amount of Monty Python stuff, like I get a better sense of kind of what he brings to the table. I really like a lot of his character work in Monty Python movies.
Yeah.
I remember I watched Life of Brian this past year, and he plays a lot of these really entertaining side characters. Like,
he's the guy at the end who sings always look on the bright side of life and everything. Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, he sang that song, and it charted. I mean, like, you'd think he would... And he was good friends with George Harrison. George Harrison...
Who makes a cameo in this movie.
He does make a cameo in this movie, yeah, which is wild. And he actually shows up in Rutland Weekend Television. And he bankrolled Life of Brian as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, next time you watch it, his name is right there. And I think he has a cameo in that movie as well. Like, he was a huge Python fan. Some people say he wanted to be a Python more than he wanted to be a Beatle. Which is great.
I don't blame him.
Yeah. And here, Idol kind of gets to be a Beatle or a Ruttle. But... apparently, like, I don't know, there's some stuff with Innes where Innes, like, wrote 2 songs for Holy Grail. Like, he wrote the Brave Sir Robin song, and he wrote the We're the Knights of the Round Table.
Yeah.
He wrote those. And then when Idol made the stage adaptation Spam-A-Lot of basically the Holy Grail, I don't think Innes received any royalties for that. This is after Archaeology comes out in 1996, which is like, the Rutles are back, and they ask Idol if he wants to be involved, and he declines, and he has this quote that's like, Neil seemed to forget that it was a joke. The Rutles is a parody of something that exists. You're constrained by what's happened. He seemed to have missed that point slightly. And he starts like kind of throwing shade at Neil Innes a little bit. And then he goes and he makes the Rutles 2. And he makes that by himself. He doesn't invite anybody who was involved in the original Rutles, like anything. to do this. And he makes it in 2002, so it's like less than a year after George Harrison passes. So some people think he's just like doing it because he's honoring his friend. But he makes it in 2002. It premieres at a film festival in 2003, and then nothing comes out of it because he can't sell it to anybody. Nobody will take it. And eventually, like, Warner Brothers relents and releases it on DVD in 2005.
Oh, wow.
But anybody involved, or anybody who sees it who was involved in the original Rutles, is like, this thing sucks. This thing is shit. It's on Letterboxd. It has like less than 200 views. It's got like a 3.1 cumulative. People are pretty unfavorable towards it, though. And I watched like 10, 15 minutes of it. I don't think it's like terrible, but it's definitely like recycling a lot of footage from the original Rutles movie. And then also like just banking on a lot of celebrity appearances. Like Tom Hanks is in it. Steve Martin is in it. Gary Shandling is in it for some reason. I don't know why he's there, but he's there. And like publicly, Idol and Ennis just kind of are over each other. And then he makes Spamalot. All the Pythons are getting royalties for that. And Ennis isn't, which kind of sucks. Ennis got screwed on a lot of this. The original Rutles track, like the title track that came out in 1978. And these are songs, some of them that show up in the documentary. They very much sound like they are directly riffing off of specific Beatles tracks, but Ennis claimed that they were all just kind of like conflated in his head, and he just wrote from memory, and he was sued.
Oh.
And he lost the lawsuit, so he had to split royalties like 50% with I think it was like MTV something at the time who sued him. Just for that title album. Any of the other tracks that they released, like he got 100% on. But yeah, Ennis has a history of getting screwed. And when he passed away, there were a lot of people who came forward and were like, this guy was great. They paid tribute to him. People like Edgar Wright, like A-listers, you know, they were just like, Ennis's work was fantastic. Meanwhile, like Eric Idle doesn't have a lot of allies these days.
Okay.
Yeah, it sucks because, yeah, I always like, when I think of the Pythons, he's one of the most iconic, I think, just in his like look and his delivery a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He kind of looks like a beaver, I think. Some sort of rodent.
A little bit.
Yeah.
He's
Is he Sir Robin? Is that who he plays?
Yeah,
in
he's Sir Robin.
Yeah. Brave Sir Robin.
Brave Sir Robin.
Ran away. Bravely ran away.
Yeah. He's got this quote where, like, when he was asked about Ennis writing that song, he's like, well, he wrote the music for it. How funny is the music by itself? I'm like, Jesus, man. Like,
wow.
You still wrote it.
I gotta respect the bitchy British beef.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the Spinal Tap guys are back together.
Yeah.
Shooting another movie together. And like, they have made several albums, all of them on them in the time where, like, between the first and the second one. Mm-hmm. They had an album in 1992 called Break Like the Wind. And they had one in 2009 called Back from the Dead. And now they've got a fourth one coming out to coincide with the release of the sequel. So, like, and it kind of seems like their whole theme, at least what I gather from the trailer of Spinal Tap 2, is like, you know, it's a tumultuous relationship. They break up, they get back together, not unlike a certain couple in our last episode. Listen to Hard Ticket episode 11. But that's just kind of like a theme that comes along, especially when you're making fun of these tropes in mockumentary fashion. You have to deal with the egos and the artistic differences and the way that bands break up and get back together. Yeah. There's through lines in real life and in fiction with both of these movies.
Yeah. Art imitates life. They did it too well, maybe in some cases. I mean, especially in a story of him getting sued, like his songs were so close to the actual Beatles songs. It's like, yeah, I think maybe he did a little too good of a job in that case.
It does kind of seem that way.
Yeah. I was very surprised to find that the Rutles wasn't actually filmed like in the 60s. Like, it is so authentic to that time period. I feel like the hairstyles and the clothing, even like what they're shooting on. I don't even know what camera they shot on, but it looks like shit, which is great. Like it really like sells it.
If I'm not mistaken, there was a Beatles documentary that they were working on. The Beatles themselves were working on.
Okay.
And they were given access to some of the footage that they then like kind of comped over for the
Oh, okay.
Rutles. And like, yeah, it looks like crap. Like it just looks like everything. It's like a hodgepodge of a movie.
Yeah, it is. It's a mixture of like on the ground shooting. It's like the actual documentary shooting, and then it's like a simulated archival footage, and then also real archival footage where they have just literally dubbed over
Like Ed Sullivan's
Ed
voice,
Sullivan,
yeah.
where he's like talking about the Beatles are here, but then they dub it over, and he's like the Rutles. Like it's just like super like obvious, which just adds to the joke of it all. But yeah, if you didn't know, like if you just showed this to like someone who had no knowledge of the Beatles, which is like no one on this planet, but you know, imagine. I don't know if they'd be able to tell that this is a fake documentary.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, contrast that with Spinal Tap, which is a lot more polished.
Yeah.
Which is refreshing, especially for a mockumentary, because
it is. Yeah, it's more polished, and it also has more of like a narrative that you can follow. The band members in Spinal Tap are more characters than the band members in Rutles, who are more like they're subjects. They're the subjects of the documentary, and they're just sort of coming in and out.
And that one's fashioned like a retrospective as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. Whereas Spinal Tap, you're like in the car with the band.
Yeah.
You're like kind of spending time with them, seeing their dynamic. They break up while the documentary is being shot, which is like really painful to watch.
It's very painful to watch, but also if you're a documentarian, it's like the most exciting thing you could possibly get.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But the whole time, like it's a comedy through and through.
Yeah.
Although there is that relationship there. The whole through line is the relationship between David St. Hubbins and Nigel, what is it? Tufnell?
That's
and the names are, I'm just going to read off the rest of them because they have Derek Smalls on bass. They have Mick Shrimpton.
Mick Shrimpton's my favorite.
Mick Shrimpton's great. And then they have Viv Savage on keys.
Yeah,
there's just poetry.
Great. The names are so like Ron Nasty and what Mick Shrimpton, like all these names, like which is perfect because you have to. I mean, obviously there are like all kinds of aliases in the music world, but like also there's just something larger than life to anybody who becomes that famous that it's like you can just make fun of their actual name and it's still funny.
Yeah, and they do the same thing in the Rutles too, where there's Dirk McQuickley, Ron Nasty, there's Barry Wom, Stig O'Hara, and of course the best is their manager, Leggy Mountbatten. He's like, he had his leg like blown off in the war or something like that.
Yeah, he just hops around.
Yeah, he was like this in this exact spot, like he was hopping around, like they just like, you know, it's that wit that they just brush right past it, like it's part of it.
Yeah, that's definitely part of like selling it as real too. Is just keeping it so dry, never tipping your hand.
Yeah,
very British. But I'm very impressed by Spinal Tap's like they don't tip their hand either. Honestly,
no, they don't.
I think for a lot of Spinal Tap, you'd watch it and think, this could definitely be a real band. There's that much restraint. I feel like part of that's aided by the fact that Christopher Guest is a British American man. And he had a big influence on the film. You know, I was reading that he was like so concerned that the music actually lined up with their like fingering on the guitar and everything.
Damn, okay.
And so they actually did additional footage to make sure it actually lined up. So he was just so clued into making this thing seem real.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. And I feel like his six-fingered hand and all of that might have been part of why it feels not as American maybe as it could feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Especially like, you know, you mentioned earlier, modern audiences might know Michael McKean from Better Call Saul, which is like super dramatic. Then again, it fits with the tone of that show where Bob Odenkirk's also like a comedic actor turned dramatic.
Yeah.
No idea that he could sing like this.
No.
Michael McKean is like, they're doing all of their actual singing, and the songs, like, if you just heard them outside of the context of this movie, they get it so perfect.
They do.
Yeah, but they're not riffing directly off of anybody, so they did not get sued by like Van Halen or Motley Crue or anything like that. They're doing like sort of original, like Weird Al, you know, when he parodies, he'll parody groups and he'll parody songs.
Right.
When he does like his quote unquote originals, which are more directed at stylizing themselves like a group.
Right.
You're safe.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. They're taking the piss out of the genre more like, I guess just like the bigger than life. I was reading like they were saying like a lot of these rock groups are kind of pretentious and like they have like these really high ideals, but they're just like, I mean, not not poo-pooing rock groups. I don't know.
Right.
That's not my thing. That's not my genre. I'm not like a dad rock
Yeah.
kind of guy. But I see where they're coming from, when they make something like Rock and Roll Creation, which is about like, it's just like the mixture of the book of Genesis with like just the genre of rock and roll and like making something out of it. Like you see where they're coming from. Sex farm, working on a sex farm. But then you get that other side of it, which is just like crass and but still very funny. Like I think that's a song that if I heard out in the wild, I would think this is obviously a joke. Obviously.
Yeah, you would think that, sure. Same with like Meatloaf songs. Like I would do anything for love, but I won't do that. Like it's that kind of like they're tapping into something. And here's one way I discovered that Spinal Tap was definitely kind of ahead of its time. I was curious about the relationship between these like, hyper hetero like metal rock groups and like how they still, wore makeup and dressed in these tight pants and like retained their identities as like, like concretely heterosexual, when there is potentially something you could read in Spinal Tap that's like kind of stepping on heterosexuality a little bit.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't read it that way, though. I'm more curious because, like, I started looking it up. I started looking through these academic resources about, like, what's been studied about, like, metal and like, glam metal and hair metal. And I found this academic article called Sex, Drags, and Rock and Roll, Diverse Masculinities of Glam Metal, Sleaze Metal, and Hair Metal by Selena J. of the University of Wrocław.
Is that the Polish
That's the
town
Polish university. Yeah, Polish town with a university. And it's this like whole thing dissects the difference between glam, sleaze, and hair metal.
Okay.
And this academic resource cites Spinal Tap, like verbatim, talking about like, it says, the target customer of glam metal is the heterosexual female, which further underlines the musician's male gender. This seems confusing because given glam strives to be both sexy and sexist at the same time, an idea famously ridiculed in the 1984 glam metal mockumentary Spinal Tap. However, the film explains that glam metal musicians are sex objects, and yet they are confident in it because they want to be objectified. They know their self-worth, and they want to have it recognized even by the means of sexual objectification. The way they present their prostitute-like approach to sex is still dominant, ravishing, and self-governing. They are empowered. Glam metal artists prove to be able to reconcile this paradox: a self-governing man and a prostitute.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I can see it. I can see it. That's interesting. And honestly, it's a big carryover between both of these movies is like ego, and specifically masculine ego. They're both bands of men.
Right.
You get like, with Spinal Tap, obviously, you get the two main characters who kind of have and they've been friends since what, high school is what they say, or like elementary school. Like they've been friends for years.
Yeah.
And they break up, and it's very sad, but they act like they don't care. Then they, meet at the end and everything. And you get a feeling that there's like a brotherly kind of love there, but also like that ego, that like kind of like little boy ego almost, where it's like they're not going to like acknowledge that they have an issue.
Right.
The Rutles is more like you're tapping into like as the Beatles evolved and they became more of like a psychedelic kind of band and everything.
Yeah.
It was all about ego death and, about transcending. But at the end of the day,
very ironic.
Very ironic. They ended up just being guys who, had their issues and fallouts and everything. Listen, I was driving down here to record this, and I was listening to Joe Public. I don't know if you heard this Rutles song.
Yes, I did. Off of Archaeology.
It's so funny where it's just like, I don't know exactly which Beatles song it's parodying. I'm not a Beatles fan. Do you know by any chance?
No, okay. I don't.
Well, it's a song that has like the sitar and everything. It has like kind of the psychedelic sounds and everything. You get a sense that in its original form, it was probably very much like a high-minded kind of thing. But the Joe Public is just about a guy named Joe Public who's like, I don't care that everybody knows who I am. I'm Joe Public. Words can't hurt me. Like he's just like, it's very much taking the piss out of that ego in that band too. Obviously, Eric Idle didn't take those lessons to heart. Apparently,
no, apparently not. But it's just like they get into that. The Beatles gets into that phase. That's probably like a John Lennon kind of strong influence there. which is fun. They in the Rutles, the John Lennon stand-in like ends up with a Yoko stand-in who's literally a Nazi.
Yeah, she's like Adolf Hitler's daughter. Yeah, that's who she is. Yeah,
she has a Nazi armband on the entire. Like there's a swastika on her arm. Yeah. I actually found this quote by Yoko that I think they might be referencing.
Okay,
when she's talking about like John and Yoko used to do these like bed-ins instead of like sit-ins. They were bed-ins to protest promote peace and love. I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole with their relationship, but I barely scratched the surface, and it is fucked.
It's a weird one. Yeah, it's a weird. Lots of their films are on Letterboxd.
Oh my god!
If you want to log,
I don't know if I can do. We got to find a hard ticket matchup for that.
Oh yeah, I think they might have worked with Andy Warhol. I'm pretty sure.
Of course they did.
Yeah, so
of course they did.
Makes sense. Pittsburgh artist. So.
Yoko did say, "If I was a Jewish girl in Hitler's day, I would approach him and become his girlfriend. After 10 days in bed, he would come to my way of thinking. This world needs communication, and making love is a great way of communicating." So she's literally saying, I can fix him about Hitler. Which is like, well, no wonder they slapped a Nazi armband on her in the Rutles. I mean,
that adds so much crucial context to that.
I know. It's very specific. Like, this is a very specific film. Yeah. And yet, we were still laughing our asses off when we didn't get these references.
Well, the Beatles, bigger than Jesus. Like they're so, they're in everything. Like still to this day, they're still in everything. I mean, I've got a couple Beatles songs kind of casually on my playlist on Spotify and everything. So no, I'm not a Beatles mega fan, but I'm enough of a fan, and I think generally, just about anybody could be enough of a fan to watch this movie, and get what it is that they're making fun of.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm actually standing outside the actual hotel in which the Rutles actually stayed in 1964. Actually, in this room here. And it was actually inside this actual room that I actually spoke with the actual Paul Simon.
I'm going to backtrack a little bit because I realized I left something dangling where I said Spinal Tap was like ahead of its time.
Oh, yeah.
Because after glam metal, which Spinal Tap is definitely like tapping into, there's this like the hypersexual lyrics in the songs. Like the whole thing about glam metal was that it was like protesting this idea of like the suburban father, like how a man was supposed to be a conformist, but also be like docile and at the same time the breadwinner. And so like you would just be loudly hypersexual. This gives way to sleaze metal where groups start like changing their outfits. They're less just like overtly like, latex and face paint and all that stuff. Less guy liner, and more like, and the songs in sleaze metal, which are by bands like Motley Crue, they start being more about like the dark side of it all, like the dark side of this kind of lifestyle. I don't have a specific example for Motley Crue, but I know that there were some bands in the article that were cited as having lyrics that directly address like inability to sexually perform and mental illness as like serious topics. And it starts getting a little bit grungy, but the aesthetics are still strong enough at this time that record companies see what's selling. And this is the dawn of hair metal. And hair metal is when you start selling out. This is bands like Def Leppard who come in, and the gender-based controversy and the sexual imagery was forbidden, so women became the center of the themes, and her effect on the male singers, like songs like Shot Through the Heart or Let It Rain, and it starts to become more misogynistic. Like there's even I think it's a Def Leppard song called Personal Property.
Oh my God.
Which is like
it's not a libertarian screed, is it?
Right, yeah. You can be as sexist as you want, but you can't be like a hypersexual thing. But this is around 1985 when this is happening, like a year after this documentary comes out.
Okay.
And that's because the Parents Music Resource Center in 1985 was founded in direct response to glam and sleaze metal's explicit content. So it kind of like shot down all of the stuff that these bands were putting out, and they didn't have like the platform to do it anymore. And this is exactly what happens in Spinal Tap. They want to have this like album art where there's like a woman on all fours in leather, and the record company's like, we're not going to print this because it's sexist and people don't want to see it. They've got all these like hypersexual songs in a time where people are starting to not want to hear that anymore, and their career starts to wane, and we're like front and center to watching that happen. And it's happening like as it's actually happening in real life, in the middle of it, before we have like the gift of hindsight. And I think you have to be just so plugged into that scene in order to properly translate that here. And they're doing it.
Yeah, I think that definitely shows like how plugged in they were. I mean, not just that, but just everything in the movie itself, like just the recreation of the songs, the sets, the personalities.
Yeah.
Clearly, I don't know who it is on the crew. I'm just imagining Christopher Guest, who's just occurs to me as just like this mild-mannered British man who's just like at a hair metal or a grunge concert or whatever, and he's just like going crazy. Like, it does not translate. I do not pick that up.
You said he like plays the guy in Best in Show who's like talking about all the types of nuts he can name.
Yeah.
Entering his hound dog in the Westminster Dog Show.
Yeah. He's like a mild-mannered Appalachian man. He's just like,
he just wants to go. He's a simple
pine
man.
nut, peanut,
macadamia nut. That's the one that would always get her was macadamia. Yeah, and these guys, they started Spinal Tap on like as a sketch too, like as a skit. There was this TV pilot called The TV Show that aired in 1979. That was like this big. Just a bunch of sketches happening at the same time, and the transitions are just like TV static when you change the channel. And Spinal Tap is one of them. And of course, it had like Christopher Guest on it. It had Rob Reiner. It had like Harry Shearer, who's like, he's Derek Small. He's the bassist, which is awesome to trace all these guys back. And they're not like bigger than life like Monty Python,
No.
But they have always been active, and they're still active doing stuff.
I'm really influenced by Mozart and Bach, and it's sort of in between though. It's like a Mach piece, really.
What do you call this?
Well, this piece is called Lick My Love Pump.
The earliest mockumentary I could find that was like labeled mockumentary specifically was the Swiss Spaghetti Harvest.
Oh, yeah. I think I read about this. What is that?
It was an April Fool's short by a BBC documentary program called Panorama that aired in 1957. And it's just like 2.5 minutes of like a program talking about people in Switzerland who are just like harvesting spaghetti from trees. And they're just like people picking off spaghetti noodles from trees. And it aired, and people in like England, because apparently spaghetti wasn't huge in like the UK in 1957, they were like, how do we grow our own spaghetti trees?
Spaghetti does grow on trees.
But then, you know that mockumentary goes back even further. Like things like the Orson Welles War of the Worlds radio broadcast, like that definitely constitutes some level of mockumentary as well.
Yeah, I think, I think just the idea of creating a story and then trying to make it as realistic as possible.
Yeah.
Like to boost the verisimilitude. There's that word again. I love that word.
I know you do.
Yeah. You think of like epistolary novels and stuff from like, where you're just writing like letters that are meant to, that you think that could be real, and they're like telling the story and everything. You have the Orson Welles famous prank, hoax, whatever you want to call it, where he did the War of the Worlds. There's Land Without Bread is the earliest mockumentary I've watched. It might be the earliest mockumentary.
Yeah.
It's a Louis, I can't pronounce his last name, Buñuel, I think. He's a Spanish guy, famous. This came out in 1931, so it's very, very early in film history. And it's just like covering like a village in rural Spain that doesn't have bread. It's poverty stricken basically.
Oh yeah.
But he like heightened elements of it and to sell the message, you know what I mean? And I think he even like just straight up made up stuff for it.
Yeah, I think you have told me about this.
I think I have. I think you and me and Dallas talked about it. And that was for propagandistic purposes, I'm pretty sure. He was like a political actor and everything. So in film, it goes all the way back then. And then I think of like, you're talking about BBC, I think of Peter Watkins, who he did a movie called The War Game, which is very much like Threads, but it's like filmed like a documentary. It's like, but it's taking place during a nuclear attack in Britain. very good. He did this movie. This is one of the most interesting examples. Culloden, which is the Battle of Culloden in Britain during like, I want to say like the 12th century, something like that.
Okay.
But it's a modern day film crew, documentary film crew there at the battle, documenting it. And so, but they just play it completely straight. It's not a comedy. It's just like how it might have actually gone down, but it's like played like a BBC broadcast.
Wow.
Basically. Yeah, it's super cool, super interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah, it's like a Civil War reenactment, but with like Walter Cronkite there, it's fun.
Yeah, I'm always like thinking about how there's so much. It feels like there's a lot of ground that still somehow has not been tread on mockumentary.
Especially as like film, like the medium and just the digital arts and everything, as the boundary between like fact and fiction really blurs. Like AI is the big thing right now.
Right.
As like, can you ever really trust anything anymore now that things can be faked so convincingly? Like, there's definitely ground, I think, more for mockumentaries, but there's also like a terrifying, like chasm that is closing, and it's weird. It's a weird, it's a weird genre.
You could probably really actually make Ed Sullivan say the Rutles.
You probably could. Yeah, exactly.
But it wouldn't be funny if it's not just Eric Idle's voice coming out of his face.
It's not funny. It's not funny, but it could convince somebody that it's real,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Which is, I think that's like the primary purpose of something like a mockumentary or a docufiction or whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
Found footage.
True.
Listen, look it very simply. Musicologically and ethnically, the Rutles were essentially empirical mélanges of a rhythmically radical, yet verbally passé and temporarily transcended lyrical content, welded with historically innovative melodical material, transposed and transmogrified by the angst of the Rutland ethnic experience, which elevated them from essentially alpha exponents of, in essence, merely beta potential harmonic material into the prime cultural exponents of alien cadenzic cosmic stanza form.
You want to get into some questions?
Yeah, I'm down for some questions. Let's go. You want to go first, or?
Sure, let's do it. Do you, on the subject of found footage, consider it mockumentary? And if there's a hard distinction between the two, is there a movie that blurs those lines in your head?
I don't think there's a hard distinction, but I do think there's a soft distinction.
Okay.
Yeah, because a mockumentary has to follow the form of a documentary, right?
Yeah.
Are you making a documentary if you're like vlogging, for example? Is that if you're filming your vacation? I mean, I guess you could get into like a pedantic argument about it, but I think most people would agree that's not like a proper documentary. That's just you documenting, I guess. So no, I don't think they're the same, but I do think there's overlap. And I think with something like, I watched Grave Encounters last month. Starts as like a fake ghost hunting show where they go into like a haunted penitentiary or asylum or something.
Yeah.
And then as, the ghosts actually come out and they're locked in the building, that's when it kind of drops the veneer of a documentary and starts becoming more of like just a found footage film. So it blurs those lines. I think it's easy to cross between the two. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely seen that happen where, the only reason to set up a found footage movie, like somebody has to be, you have to acknowledge that somebody's recording a lot of the time. But I've seen that done. I've seen it done really poorly a lot of the time in movies like Jerusalem with a Z, because they start getting attacked by these like
zombies.
I don't even think they're zombies. I think they're like demons or whatever.
Well, what's the point of the Z in Jerusalem? Wouldn't it be zombies?
Man, I don't remember.
It would be Jerusalem.
I watched it back in college. It was late. I watched with my friend Kobe. I know he's going to hear this. So
Hi, Kobe.
Kobe, maybe you can answer that. Yeah, no, I think they're both like, I guess, genres under the umbrella of like pseudo nonfiction, right? I mean, like or auto fiction, basically, something like that.
I think that's fair. That's fair as a technique. Yeah, auto fiction. I agree with that.
And there's definitely like tropes or techniques people employ that connote a specific style. So you can group it, just like you can group glam metal and sleaze metal and hair metal.
I had no idea these were things before.
Oh yeah.
All right. My question: if you made a mockumentary, what would it be about?
Do you remember that I have made a mockumentary?
Yeah, you have made a mockumentary. That's true. I forgot until just now.
And it's funny because in that mockumentary, which is just a project I made really with my long-term creative collaborator, Rob Simmons. I am playing a documentarian, and he is playing like a YouTube vlogger.
Yeah, yeah.
And we are arguing during the creation of this film about what direction to take it in. It's called Burnt Factory, and the whole thing is like we're supposed to be uncovering the truth behind why this unincorporated community is named Burnt Factory, discovering some dark secret. But we discover nothing. We just have a falling out in this movie, and things get a little weird from there. But
do you feel like your character in Burnt Factory would take the position that Rob's character in Burnt Factory is not making a documentary?
Oh yeah, that's most of, I think.
Do you feel that personally? That like a YouTube vlog or something like that isn't really a documentary?
Well, that the lines are so blurred. You know, look at a career like Werner Herzog, who inserts himself into so many of his documentaries, if not all of them. I don't particularly like that style of documentary because it's not fly on the wall filmmaking. It kind of like guides the viewer into what the documentarian thinks and leaves less room for like objective interpretation of the information that's coming to you. But it can only be so objective to begin with because it's already a film being edited together in a certain way.
Yeah, I think that's Herzog's. That might be his intention. That might be like his intention behind all of his docs, or at least like stuff like Grizzly Man and stuff.
Yeah.
Where he's just like playing with that sense of objectivity that other docs like sell you, that you think you're getting from like something like Planet Earth or Blue Planet, David Attenborough documentaries.
Any of the Planet series.
You know, nature docs, right? I mean, nature docs are so generally they're super polished, and there's all kinds of tricks they do to get the animals to, shit and stuff.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I remember there was a nature documentary. I think it was like a Disney documentary. I think it was just like one of the Planet Earth movies.
The lemmings thing, right? Is that what you're going to say?
Oh, no, that's not what I was going to say.
They got like lemmings to run off a cliff. Like that kind of started the whole like people like jumping off of cliffs like lemmings. Like that's a thing because I guess they manipulated that crowd of lemmings to do it. Like I guess I don't know if they actually do it in real life, but if they do, they don't do it like a lot. But they needed the shot. So they were just like,
wow, that's that's actually like the opposite of what I was going to bring up because I was bringing up like a shot they got of a great white shark emerging from the ocean eating like a seal.
Yeah.
And it took them like I think over a year to actually get that shot, and then some YouTubers went and like made this rig where they like set up bait and got the shot like really quick because you can do that, but apparently the filmmakers wanted to get like an actual natural occurrence of it. But again, you are just like going off of their word. So like, I mean,
that's true.
Whatever, they got the both of them got the shot in different ways.
Yeah, nowadays I'd look at it and be like, that's AI generated. That's all fake. I don't believe it.
Yeah. Okay, my next question is that both of these mockumentary concepts started as jokes from smaller sketches. What's a sketch from a comedy show or some other property that you think could actually be done well at feature length?
Yeah, I've been trying to think of an answer to this the entire time. I'm a big I Think You Should Leave fan, so definitely like a Tim Robinson sketch. The first thing that came to mind, I don't know why, it's not even like one of my favorite sketches, but it's the guy who is like a mime. He's like pantomiming everything.
Yeah.
And they're all trying to get him to talk. I feel like you could stretch that out to like a 70-minute movie. And I would think it was funny. Like something where he's like trying to do like a Chaplin thing, like trying to make a Chaplin movie, but he just keeps breaking because people are just like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you acting like that? And he's just like, it's a bicycle. It's a bike. I'm pretending like I'm riding a bike, like something like that. Like I would love to see a full feature length of that sketch.
That would actually be great. That would lend itself so well to just like all the things he's trying to do and all the ways they would spectacularly fail. I would definitely watch that.
Yeah.
I watch anything with Tim Robinson.
Oh, geez, yeah. Do you have anything like in mind for that answer?
The thing that comes to mind for me is the series of sketches that Eddie Murphy did when he was on SNL, where he played Mr. Robinson, who was a Mr. Rogers parody.
Oh.
But it's Eddie Murphy, and he's doing some like He doesn't live in the friendliest neighborhood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I think I might have seen one of these. I think you sent
probably.
one,
Yeah. They're just like intrusions where somebody knocks really loudly, and he's like, "That's Mr. Landlord, kids." It's just like I would be really interested to like, I don't know. You could make a really good comedy out of that, probably. I would watch it. I watch the sketches all the time, and they're always funny. So
yeah, I could definitely see a feature length of that. All right. What's a genre of music that's ripe for the mockumentary take? We have pop music and Rutles. We have, hair metal. What the hell did you call it?
It's glam metal.
Glam metal.
It's right before hair metal.
Oh, okay. Pre-hair metal.
Yeah, I think you can make a good mockumentary about like polka music.
Oh.
Polka's always been just ripe for, it's been at the heart of music parody because of Weird Al Yankovic. Then you can find, it doesn't have to be about Weird Al. We already got the Weird Al
movie,
faux biopic, which was fantastic. But you can do it about like, I don't know, like you can create a fictional reality where polka's huge and like just go from there.
I think you're right. That would be really funny. Yeah, fictional. Yeah, like super niche, but like they're as big as the Beatles, like kind of thing. That'd be really funny.
The Beatles of polka, basically.
Yeah, like Scottish, like bagpipe music or something.
Oh yeah,
that'd be funny.
You have like a battle of the bagpipes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Is that what you would do, or you got something else in mind?
I was thinking like music genres. I don't know if bagpipes is a genre, but I was thinking like classical music, because like you just get like they take themselves so seriously. They've had it too good for too long. It's time to skewer the classical genre. I feel like the personalities there would be ripe for parody.
Are you saying you want to film like a mockumentary with like a modern documentary crew? Classical music,
like the London Philharmonic. Yeah, you're just like, and you find out that everybody behind the scenes is like an egotistical asshole. John Williams is there. He's a dick. He sucks.
Oh my god. Yeah, that'd be fantastic. I would definitely watch that. Like we had Pop Star come out like back in the 2010s, and that was, a lot of people said that was like Spinal Tap for the new generation.
Yeah.
Which would be definitely an interesting matchup, but I think the Rutles is like,
it's great to get something before Spinal Tap.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, because Spinal Tap is often the mockumentary. And
it's like the benchmark for it.
Rutles had them beat.
Yeah, they did, and they did a really good job doing it too.
They did. Okay, my next question is, which of these two bands are you more likely to find yourself unironically enjoying on a casual listen?
So while we were watching the Rutles, I like turned to you probably a couple times and was like, it's so bad. They're so bad. I've never been like a big Beatles fan. I listen to some Beatles songs and I like some of them.
Yeah.
But the way that these guys parodied the Beatles, you almost get the feeling that they hated them because like all the repetitive lyrics and like the earworms that are like, like in your skull, like, and
they play like the whole song every time. It's on screen,
and they just keep going. Another chorus, another. It's just awful. And then I feel like Spinal Tap. It's not my genre of music. But I think I was enjoying it more unironically.
Yeah.
Like I really love Rock and Roll Creation, like the like the mysterious kind of like intro and. I think I'd probably enjoy Spinal Tap's music more.
Yeah, I'm definitely a Big Bottoms guy for sure. But I started listening to Archaeology when we were in prep for this episode, and I think Archaeology is a little more like cheeky with its lyricism.
The more I listened to the lyrics, the more I appreciated it. I will say that. I think the lyrics are more clever in the Rutles. Like I said, Joe Public, I was like actually listening to it as I was driving, and I was like, I was cackling. I thought it was so funny.
Yeah, and that's kind of the point of it is to be like the point of Spinal Tap is just be aggressively stupid.
Yeah.
And the Rutles is actually to be clever. So I would probably rather listen to the Rutles.
That's fair. That's totally fair. If it were just the lyrics, I would agree with you, but it's the just like the Beatles sound, not the Beatles.
That's fair. Understandable.
All right. Do you have a favorite band that you'd want to see lampooned, like in a similar style?
I was thinking about this because my favorite band is the Hold Steady. and they have this like really iconic way that like Craig Finn like sings a lot of his lyrics, and he's doing it with this like, I don't even want to tell you this shit, man. You're making me say
we were
it.
pissing in the party pit.
It's not the line, but
that would be the line in my mockumentary.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely, because I know them so well, I think it would be, I could find, out of like maybe 200 people in the world,
oh yeah,
could just die laughing.
That would be super niche.
Like
that would be super niche, but I would appreciate it too, just because I have also been to a Hold Steady concert because of you.
Yes.
Got punched in the dick there.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. I wasn't even going to say it was you.
I thought I pulled my punch at the last.
He was a couple gin and tonics in.
A guy bought me free drinks because I knew all the words.
You knew all the lyrics at a concert that you went to. Yeah. He was like, free drinks.
Hey man, I was in the top 1% of that concert. I don't care.
What is the genre? It's like a bar band.
It's like bar rock. They
rock?
like
Okay.
doing these catchy choruses so that people sing along. But
Yeah.
they're like
Stamp
alternative
feet.
rock. They have a lot of classic rock influence, a lot of Springsteen influence, and then they have a guy on keys who just tears it up, and then some of their songs will just have like a spontaneous piano ballad. And it's like, it's kind of hard to classify, but you could do it. It's alternative. It's all alternative.
Yeah, they're a good band. I enjoy pissing in the party pit as much as the next guy.
Wait, who's your band?
Oh, and I'm not a Taylor Swift fan, but like someone needs to take her down. Like someone needs to make a Taylor Swift. No, I think my favorite band is Hippocampus, and they're like a modern indie rock band.
Mm-hmm.
And there's definitely room there for parody, I think, with their lyrics and stuff, where it's like poetic but kind of pretentious too.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's just kind of the same message as Spinal Tap at the end of the day.
I think, that sad girl rock right now, or like almost like soy girl rock, which is like, like Boy Genius, Phoebe Bridgers,
Okay.
like Lucy Dacus. That's so big right now.
Okay.
And it could be really easy to just make it a dichotomous thing where they're like super happy people in real life or something like that.
Yeah.
The more you dig deep, the more they're like disingenuous. Not to say that they're not genuine in real life.
You could make it really sexist, I feel like. And I'm not saying that like taking pleasure in that, but I think like as a comedic premise, you could turn something that's like, woe is me, I'm a poor sad girl, and like make it into something like really kind of vile, honestly.
Yeah.
But in the same genre, if you want to like parody that sort of thing.
Right. Well, I mean, if it's a mockumentary, you can make it like the filmmaker can be a character in this thing. You know, like, and I actually prefer it whenever it is more transparent about that stuff.
Yeah.
All right. It's my turn. So I'm going to give you 3 scenarios, 3 topics,
Okay.
song topics, and you're going to give me 1, the Spinal Tap title for each, and 2, the Rutles title for each. And our first theme is a power ballad about a man who just lost his dog.
Okay. Should I do the Spinal Tap one or the Rutles first?
Up to you. You have one ready to go?
No. No. Do you have one ready to go just to kind of get me started, maybe?
For something like Spinal Tap?
Sure, yeah.
Spinal Tap, power ballad about a man who just lost his dog. It's got to be obscene. It's got to be offensive. I'm thinking something like bitch off leash. Something like that. Should I not say that?
No, you can totally say that in the context of what we're talking about. Bitch off leash. That's really good. I don't know how to beat that. Bark, bark, bitch. Like, I don't know what you want me to. I feel like bitch has to be in there, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's about a dog. Or you can do like a...
Where's the peanut butter?
It's got to be super vulgar. It's glam metal.
Oh.
It's fucking glam metal.
Glam metal.
Man.
It's got to be vulgar. The Rutles would be like,
where is my dog? Dude, where's my dog?
Where's my dog? It would have to be something kind of twee, something kind of like nostalgic and kind of sentimental, like Fido, something with Fido.
Doggone.
Dude.
Doggone.
Doggone.
There it is. There it is. Are you the one who showed me that song, there was like another Beatles parody called "It's Okay to Leave Your Dog in a Hot Car."
Yeah.
Who did that? Who
I
wrote that?
don't know, but it was before AI, so it was like before.
Yeah, it was a real band.
It was a real band singing like "It's okay to leave your dog in a hot car." Yeah,
And some people thought it was like actually the Beatles.
Yeah.
Right? And they were like, "I can't believe they sang about this." Like, oh, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Beatles parodies are so funny.
Oh,
They're
they really
always
are.
funny.
The style is just so easy to do.
All right, here's scenario number 2.
All right.
Angry anti-disco diss track.
Oh man, I don't know anything about. Okay, so Saturday Night Fever is the first thing that comes to mind when I think of disco. So you call it like Sunday morning hangover. I don't know. It's like the opposite. I don't know. Help. What do you have? What do you got?
I don't know, like paging Dr. Disco.
Oh,
Paging Dr. Disco, you're dead. Or disco shot in the head.
let him help you die. That's you're giving the same energy as let
That's
him
kind
help
of
you
that's
die.
the Spinal Tap energy.
That is true. Yeah, it is. What would be the Rutles, do you think? It would be like Disco Dreamland, baby, and
Bye bye disco Dan.
Lucy in the Sky with Disco Diamonds.
Disco done. So you got doggone
Doggone.
disco done.
God. This is the most disastrous question that's ever been asked. All right, the next one is a love song to a grilled cheese sandwich. Why did you What if
I don't know, man.
Please Me Cheese Me. That's the Spinal Tap.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
My first one. All right.
That was good.
Rutles song would be
Rutles song.
bigger than Jesus.
Bigger than Cheez-Its.
Bigger than Jesus. Bigger than Jesus. That's all right. I think are we done with that? Are we done with that?
We can be done with that. That's fine.
The public humiliation. All right. Question number 4. Battle of the Bands. Who would you rather see live in concert and why? This is kind of echoing a question you already asked me, but I sent my questions first, so you technically copied me.
I didn't copy it. I think this is different because I
guess it
would.
is.
Yeah, I would rather see Spinal Tap live for sure.
Because of the atmosphere, the culture.
Oh,
Yeah.
The stage decorations that are supposed to be enormous, but you have to squint to see. Like, oh yeah.
I love when their bassist is like stuck in the
pod.
Yeah, he can't like get out of the cocoon.
Yeah, they've got all the tricks. They cater to the live audience, I would say. The Rutles are like, some of it's just kind of hard to get through.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I'd rather be in a Spinal Tap concert. I think I'd probably get hit, but
Yeah.
I'd wear a wig or something, you know?
Yeah, you'd blend right in.
Yeah. Is it like hair? Could I do the long hair for hair? It's not hair metal, is it? It's grunge metal?
It's not hair metal.
Sleaze metal?
It's glam metal.
All right, glam metal. Okay. I'm wearing my makeup.
Right. Yeah. Great. We're gonna go together.
We're gonna go.
I won't
Yeah.
punch you this time.
I'm gonna crowd surf, and you're gonna lift me up.
Speaking of seeing them live, who's the opener for either band today?
Opener. Like my first instinct is to do like a parody musician. Like you'd have.
Oh yeah.
You'd have like Weird Al there, but I could also see like Lonely Island opening for.
Oh yeah, that's
someone.
good.
Although I don't think they ever like dip their hair into glam metal, whatever the.
No, I don't think so. It's mostly pop parodies.
That's true. Yeah. So maybe that's more of a Rutles thing.
Yeah. I could see the Stones opening up for the Rutles.
The Stones.
The Rolling Stones.
I never heard like the magazine.
What?
I'm just kidding. The Beatles, like the insects. All right, number 5. In the 2019 movie Yesterday, struggling musician Jack Malik wakes up one day to discover that he is the only one who remembers the Beatles and subsequently becomes famous playing their songs. So how does this story change if he'd woken up to be the only one who remembered the Rutles?
I think if you do this premise, then you have to change the whole format, and it's a documentarian who woke up and is the only one who remembers the Rutles, and he makes a movie about them and tries to convince people that they were real. And
He tries to convince that a parody band of the Beatles were real.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. And he's played by Eric Idle, of course, because he'll come running as long as you don't.
He needs a paycheck.
Yeah, he does. That's how it changes. And he can't convince anybody. And this is kind of a sad story, but in the end, he starts to recreate the songs of the Rutles and then get sued
by the Beatles. Yes,
Beatles.
that's
Yeah.
perfect. You're right. I just screamed it into my mic, but that is perfect. That is a perfect ending. It's a tragedy. I love it.
That's okay.
That's what I was going to say. Word for word.
Nice. Perfect.
Yeah, that's good. Those are all my questions. Do you have any more questions?
I'm out of questions.
Then we've arrived at the only question that fucking matters.
Jesus.
Sorry. Hard ticket to the movies. We got this is Spinal Tap, and we have the Rutles. All you need is cash. Jeff, I'm genuinely curious because I don't know which way this is going to go.
Oh, really?
I still don't know which way this is going to go for me.
Oh, wow.
I'm still thinking about it. What are you going to watch? What's your hard ticket?
I am getting a ticket to see Spinal Tap.
No.
I'm going to see Spinal Tap because I think there's a reason why it broke through to the mainstream. I do think that some of the highs of the Rutles are, I was almost crying laughing.
Yeah.
There were times when I was almost crying laughing watching Spinal Tap as well. Like when they played Big Bottoms and we were watching it together, I almost cried, man.
That's very funny.
It is so funny. But ultimately, I think there is more substance to Spinal Tap. It's a comedy film, sure, but it's like it still has a narrative through line. You're still kind of like getting to know these characters. There's a little bit of depth to them. There's like Nigel. He's like playing piano at one point. He's like a kind of a good classical pianist, and like the director,
and they work that into the songs too sometimes.
Yeah, and but then it's always undercut because the director walks up to him and he's like, "What do you call that?" And he's like, "Lick my love pump," or something like that.
Yeah, lick my dipstick or something like that.
And there are times where it can, like while the plot is happening, it can kind of feel a little bit like because it's such a blueprint for what I think a lot of mockumentaries did afterwards. Maybe some parts can feel a little dry. When the narrative is actually happening, there hasn't been a joke for a little bit.
Right.
But I'm still so much more impressed by like the writing, the ad-libbing, the way a scene works with like almost entirely ad-libbing. Doesn't feel like it's like strung together at all. It all feels very intentional. Apparently Rob Reiner wanted to give all of the actors writing credits because of how much they ad-libbed and lifted their own characters through the movie. So I'm definitely much more impressed by that, and I can forgive Spinal Tap for a lot of the same mockumentary pitfalls that I think make modern entries a little more kitschier. I think when you look back and you're like, where did this come from? Spinal Tap is almost always like the answer, and I think it's a classic for that reason.
Yeah. It is really hard to pick for me. But I think
you're gonna do it.
I'm gonna do it.
My God!
I think I'm gonna give it to the Rutles, and it's really just for the reason that I feel that it is more. Its cards are held a little tighter to the chest. That's really it for me. I think because I love mockumentaries, I love found footage, I love anything that treats itself as an artifact, and anytime it kind of tips its hand, I keep saying that, but anytime it does, it really kind of rubs me the wrong way. I don't think Spinal Tap really does it explicitly, but by being more of a narrative-driven fake documentary, by having characters who are more well-defined, to me, it does come across a little more fakey.
And that's fair.
And the Rutles is more, like I was saying, the Beatles, or the Rutles, in that movie are the subjects or really objects of the documentary. They never really do start to feel like real people, in the same way that I don't think I could ever look at Paul McCartney or John Lennon or the other ones and think of them as real people. Sorry. The George Harrison and Ringo Starr dig.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I could ever look at those guys and say they are real human beings that I share this planet with, or breathe in the same air. Walk in the same streets.
What, they're just like the image to you forever? Like
they are, yeah. They are. I think they are for most people. It's hard to look at someone like, and John Lennon's already dead too, and Paul is still alive. George Harrison died too, right?
George Harrison died in 2001.
Yeah, and Ringo Starr's alive. I mean, especially the dead ones, and John Lennon in particular. Like, I don't think I could ever look at him and think of him as a real walking, talking human being, even though I know he was, and he was a flesh and blood man who was gunned down and everything. Obviously the Rutles comes out before all that, so which I think only further mythologizes the Beatles too. Mm-hmm. And the Beatles really are like the biggest thing in music in certainly last century.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
So for me, I think the Rutles captures that a little bit better than something like Spinal Tap, where it's parodying not anything specific, but more of like a genre and a type of person who would have been in that. I don't really give me a musician who was like a metal guy. Like,
I mean, they definitely have an aesthetic of like a Van Halen or like a Motley Crue, or like a Twisted Sister.
What's one of their musicians' names? Like Dirk McQuigley. Like, what are their names?
Eddie Van Halen.
Eddie Van Halen. Yeah, Van Halen. I'm like, I look at that guy and I'm like, I don't think I could ever get to know him as a person either. But I feel like I get to know the other guys. You know their names.
It's okay. It's not your. It's
not my. No, I'm name blind and kind of face blind too.
No, I definitely feel like. I mean, they're definitely movies that kind of set out to do different things. The Rutles is relentlessly funny. It's gag after gag. Lots of them very funny. Some of them go on for a little long, and you're waiting for the next good one.
But goddamn, do they sell the point though? You know.
Yeah.
I never want to listen to a Beatles song again.
And that's what the Rutles is all about.
Yeah, it's all about ruining the Beatles.
Well, it looks like we're a house divided on this one.
Yeah, this is the first one in a while since we've been a house divided.
Yeah.
What did Abraham Lincoln say about a house divided? Makes for good podcast listening.
And if you liked that, you can follow us on Instagram and Blue Sky at HardTicketPod, all lowercase, all one word. You can follow me on Letterboxd at Jeff Blogus, again, all lowercase, all one word. Tristan, where can people follow you?
Yeah, you can follow me on Letterboxd at Tristan M. And that's it.
That's about all we want.
Yeah. I mean, you can message me on Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram. It's fine. I don't care. Tristan Less.
Feel free to make suggestions in the comments here on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you're listening, and on our social channels. And a lot of you know us personally. So reach out and give us some suggestions.
Some words of affirmation. That's my love language.
Show them you love them. Thank you, Jared Tadlock, for designing our brand elements and keeping our podcast looking fresh. Thank you, Aaron Griffin, for mixing and mastering our theme song, sung by yours truly in a truly awful falsetto. Next week, we are going to be taking an in-depth look at the career of the Russo brothers post-Avengers, with a four-way matchup among 21 Bridges, Cherry, Extraction, and the Gray Man. So you don't want to miss that.
Yeah, that sounds like a good one.
But until then, we will see you guys at the movies.
Sayonara, mates.
It's a hard